I think people are just not ready to make that jump and that commitment. So I would just say, just do it. Everyone has something interesting to say. I love hearing people talk. I love listening. I love hearing people's stories and journeys. I love learning new stuff. So if you have anything to talk about, if it's knitting or cooking or, sports or design, like people will listen. There's people out there that want to learn from you and take initiative and be like, wow, that was so inspiring. That was so motivated. I can do it. If he can do it, I can do it. So I think it comes down to shyness and being nervous about taking that, because I was nervous at first. What are my friends going to say? What are my parents going to say? What are my family's going to say? Is this going to hurt my brand? Is this going to hurt my image? Is this going to hurt? But I think not. I think people are like, wow, that's confident. It's inspiring. It's motivating. It's educational. So like I said, it's only benefits. You just got to put the work in, and good things will come. You'll meet new people like we are now. You'll meet people on Instagram. You meet people on LinkedIn. You'll get people, hey, can I be on your podcast? Like, yeah, let me know. So it's been interesting.
Have you ever experienced like someone made a bad comment about your podcast or an episode, or even you as a podcaster?
Let me think. I've had a couple of they're not that bad. Like a couple people, oh, I don't like this music, or I don't like your intro, or you don't sound very energetic, or you sound robotic. And some of it I agree, because it was my first time, and I'm working with a not a very strong laptop. I have a couple of editing softwares. I don't have like the sound room. This mic my friend let me borrow. Shout out to John Rao for the mic. So I haven't had anything bad. Like I'm okay with criticism and people telling me. I'm okay with people telling me something negative if it's appropriate, but if it's just for them to be negative, to bring me down, I don't care about that. But to be honest, nothing really. Just a couple of like sound bites and audio things, which I have worked on, and it's totally true, and I need to get better. But every podcast you get a little bit better. So,
well, I agree. If it's constructive criticism, then by all means, right? And I also believe that if the intention of someone is to really build you up, it should be delivered in a good way. But like as what you said, if it's just for them, I don't know, proving that they're better than you, or they just envy that they can't run a podcast, that's why they're being negative. Now that's a different story.
No, it's totally true. It's funny, right? Because the most people that say no to you, don't do that. What are you thinking? That's not going to work. They've never done it. They've never even tried. So I think kind of going back earlier, they're shy, they're negative, and I don't know, like none of my friends said, not friends, but people close to me, none of them said podcasts, but then I say I'm doing one, and then they're like, oh, I want to do it with you.
Exactly.
So yeah, I'm okay with it too. And like look who's telling you no. Are the people who've done it or haven't done it? If they've done it, okay. If they haven't, I don't take it seriously.
Right. And it's I like how you run your show, man. Now that I know the story behind it, and you saying that you don't have a mic and someone just lend it to you, then you have a limited resource. You have a computer, but not that high spec, and yet you're producing content. That's something, man. I really respect you with that. That's something. I'm sure a lot of listeners and viewers of this episode will really get inspired, because I am inspired. I'm pumped up.
That's cool, man. And kind of what you were saying, another benefit of podcasts I find is, and you probably know this too, is okay. We make an episode, right? You can take the audio, make it a podcast. You can take the video, make it a YouTube video.
Right.
You can take 1 minute videos and make little commercials. That's what I do. Is I take 3 1 minute videos, and then I put it on every platform: Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. And then you can even take a sentence and make it a carousel.
Yeah.
You can take a sentence, make it a picture. You can make it a blog.
Right.
So you have so much. You have so much content to repurpose, and I feel like a lot of people run out of content. Like a lot of people around close to me call me a content machine, just constantly making content. And you can spread it, and that's that's one reason I love it.
I call it content diversification.
Yeah, perfect.
You use a single content, you chop it into different pieces, you throw it in different platform. By that, you're getting more reach, you're reaching more people,
Yeah.
And it's how it is that you managing different social media platform. You're not just sticking into one. And like what you've said, at one point you will run out of content, or there are some times that you can't generate enough
Yeah.
content or generate enough ideas to work on. By utilizing content diversification, it gives you enough time and ample time for you to prepare, to make research, less of a hustle, less of a stress. It buys you time. It's like a buffer for you
Yeah.
to generate ideas, to come up with the next content, for you to work it on again, another episode, another project, right?
It's totally true. And then, like I said, people want to work with you. People are like, oh, I want to publish my content. So if it wasn't for me, they wouldn't have this. They're like, I have the second one I did, Nick Kite. He's real estate. He's in real estate, and he's been reusing the content that we made together for weeks now. And I think it's beautiful
Wow.
because he always posts about real estate information, but now he has something that can show his human side, show his
Right.
voice, show his thoughts, show his views on the real estate industry. And because no one else really in Ottawa, where I'm from, is doing that, he's going to stand out. So it's beneficial for both parties, and I think it's great because it just makes sense. Like it's going to be more popular in the future. So it's a good thing that we're both starting now and going forward.
Right. Here, a follow-up question with what makes podcasts different. Technicalities. Do you prefer going for a long episode for a podcast or a short version? Let's say 30 minutes is under the category of short, and more than that, an hour plus is for a long form. Which one is better for you?
To listen or to make?
Both.
That's a good question. It
As
really
a
depends on.
content creator, so that's for making. And as a consumer, what works? You're listening for a long form or short form? Let's go first with the content creator side.
That's a good question. Kind of to be, I don't want to say selfish, but the longer the podcast, the longer it takes me to edit. So that's. But I don't think short podcasts. I think they need to be a good length. It depends on the content. Is the content valuable? Do people want to listen to everything you're saying? Is the information good? So I think it really depends on the content and how good the content, how valuable the content is. It's hard to say. There's no perfect pizza, right? Like
Right.
a small pizza could be super delicious and a big one. So it depends on the content. But the thing is, I try to think about the guests. Do they have the time? Are they busy? So that's a tough question to answer. I personally like not too short, but not too long. So I'm still working on the perfect time. But the thing is for me, and I tell my friends, it's like when I listen and watch YouTube, I times it by 2 or 1.75 to make it go faster, right? Because I don't have 2 hours to listen to Joe Rogan or some of the other people.
Yeah, man.
And
Joe Rogan's
tell them
episodes are like super long form.
They're
It's
too
like
long.
2 hours, 3 hours.
Yeah.
But I haven't finished one episode of Joe Rogan, but I spent because I love Joe Rogan, like back in the days that he entered UFC and then he runs a podcast. So I love Joe Rogan. But the longest time duration that I spent listening or watching his podcast is, I think, 45 minutes tops.
Yeah, so
and that's me driving.
Like, it's just,
that's why.
Yeah. So it's a tough question. I think 40 minutes to an hour is good. I've listened to good 30-minute ones, right? But like, if you have a guest, like if you're doing it by yourself, talking about, I don't know, branding or, content creation, it's just me talking about something, which I haven't done yet.
Yeah.
Like only me podcast talking about my ideas. I haven't done that yet. So I don't really know, but I don't know if you know, what's his name? Neil Patel and Eric Sue. Their podcast is really short, but they put a bunch of short podcasts into a long podcast, which is okay. I like it. But the thing is, they have so many little bits of information about like, use this software, use this app, use this strategy.
Right.
So sometimes it's too much to take in. I got to re-listen to it, which is, and I love it. They do a good job. So that's a tough question. I think it really depends on the guest, the mood, the tone of the conversation. Because
Mm.
a couple of times I'm like, does this person want to be here? Like, I don't know, it might take too long. And then sometimes it's like, man, I could keep talking to this guy for 2 hours.
Yeah,
So it really
yeah.
depends on the guest and the conversation. Because like I said earlier, like I would have another coffee with you if the conversation is great, because I love listening and talking.
Right.
So, and as a listener, like I said, it all depends on the content.
What's the longest duration you've spent consuming, listening to a podcast?
I don't know. Maybe I'm not a big I'm not actually a big Joe Rogan guy. I've only listened to a couple, maybe 5 or 10 episodes. So maybe one of his, but no one else does these long podcasts.
Yeah,
So the thing is, like I said, I times it by 2, right? So it's a lot quicker. So yeah, that's I don't really have a good answer for that. Sorry.